Hello again, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be with you again on the marketplace. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji-Riafe. This is the platform where we analyze the markets, talk about trends and investment, and of course how global developments are impacting on business activities right here in Ghana. Coming up in this afternoon's edition, Public Utility Workers Union of the ECG commences nationwide strike from today to protest disrespect by the Millennium Development Authority and the lack of confidence in privatization of the ECG. Also in this bulletin, visiting IMF mission expected to end its review on Ghana today. We tell you what progress is there for Ghana to pass the third review under the fund program. And also, clearing agents are warning of revenue losses for the economy if government does not urgently halt the implementation of the handling charges at the ports. My name once again is Emmanuel Abuaji-Riafe. You can stay interactive with us by tweeting at Joy Business, GH is the handle, and on Facebook we are on Joy Business, that's our page. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. We'll be right back after this to stay. Thank you very much for staying on the marketplace and welcome back. Now to our very first story. The Public Utility Workers Union of ECG has started a nationwide strike from today to protest what it describes as gross disrespect shown it by the Millennium Development Authority leader. The union talks of the lack of transparency and a lack of trust with regards to moves to privatize the Electricity Company of Ghana. According to leadership of the PUWU, all staff across ECG operational areas are to report to work today but not to carry out any official duty. This means for customers who will need prepaid credits or even make payments for their post-paid meters, they may have to try some other time or make do with private vendors. The PUWU last week embarked on a 3-day nationwide demonstration to protest the privatization of ECG and demand the review of the Millennium Challenge Corporation MCC compact, which it claims has the roadmap for massive layoffs. Joseph Akable has this report.
The red fabric that welcomes you to the Accra East office of the Electricity Company of Ghana if you are to come here this Friday morning. Workers here are of the view that they didn't reach any consensus in that meeting with the Millennium Development Authority, and as a result of that, they are still on strike. It's not just at this office, but it's across the country. Let's go in and let's have a look at the situation here. So right at the entrance, you can see the red fabric here. Some of the workers are on the compound. We understand they are having a meeting inside the office here. So we can come in now and have a look at the place now. Once you enter the Accra East office of the company, right above there you can see another red fabric that has the inscription "Stop ECG Concession." Stop ECG Concession. The main point that the workers of the Utilities Union have been making time again, talking about the fact that they are not happy about this concession agreement that the Millennium Development Authority is fronting for government. We understand a high-powered meeting is taking place at the Assembly Hall right inside at this particular end, at this entrance. We are told a meeting of the workers is taking place over there. So we'll be waiting for them to exit. They will then talk to some of them to find out exactly what they discussed, which services they are suspending today, and which services will be available for customers. Because for many customers, they are worried. They want to visit the centers. They want to have access. They want to report faults if need be, and they want it to be attended to. But it appears that is not going to be the situation. They are here on the compound. They are not working. They've laid down their tools. You can see them, some wearing red tops, others in red fabric as well. They are all standing here. Upstairs, the offices are all locked. They are not providing services. They are saying that they still have disagreements with government, and until those disagreements are addressed, the offices will remain closed as it is, and the workers are still on the compound. The workers, we understand today, are continuing with their strike action. I'm joined here by two of their leaders. They will be telling us exactly what today's action is about, which services they are suspending, and which ones will be available for customers. So let me first start with the chairman first. So sir, which services is available for customers today, and which ones are you suspending?
Yeah, the services available to customers is emergency. For instance, the hospitals, military installations, when they have faults, we attend to them. That is all. Apart from that, we are not working. We are not serving anybody.
So it means that when someone comes and he wants to pay his electricity bill, or he perhaps has a fault that he wants it to be attended to, that cannot be attended to?
For that one, we are looking at it, whether we should consider it, but as of now, we have not taken a decision on it.
So this is the customer service office of the Electricity Company of Ghana, the Accra East office. On a normal day, you come around and you expect that you should have some workers sitting behind those desks attending to customers who come in, but the desks are deserted, the office is empty. This section of the office is entirely empty. We can also look at other parts of the office. Right ahead of us is where people are supposed to pay their electricity bills. We can quickly see the security man just locking up the place. The main exit has been locked as well. That is the point where you exit and you also come into that part has just been locked. So this is the situation here at the Accra East office of the Electricity Company of Ghana. We'll be going on to check out the situation at other offices across the country as well.
Right, so obviously not a pleasant situation at all at the offices of the ECG. Meanwhile, Deputy Power Minister John Jinapor is assuring consumers of uninterrupted power supply as the Atuabo gas processing plant finally shuts down for mandatory maintenance. The exercise, expected to last for at least a week, is among other things enable engineers undertake major repair and maintenance works on the plant in line with insurance requirements. There have been concerns about possible power outages to the detriment of the economy. But speaking with Joy Business at a 3-day international roadshow underway here in Accra, Mr. Jinapor said measures have been put in place to ensure reliable power supply.
The shutdown, according to the Ghana Gas Company, has become crucial, not only to avert a possible collapse of a plant, but also to meet insurance requirements. There have since the announcement of a shutdown been concerns about possible power outages to the detriment of especially businesses and individual users alike. But speaking at a 3-day international roadshow underway here in Accra, dubbed Power Elect, Mr. Jinapor said measures have been put in place to ensure reliable power supply.
And based on the programs and the projects in the pipeline, we even expect the situation to improve better. Hitherto, with the shutdown of the processing plant, of the Atuabo processing plant, we have had a major disruption in the power supply. But as I am talking to you, my information from the engineers is that power supply is normalized and that the backups that we have are able to hold on. And so let's remain calm even as we go through the process.
President of the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, James Asare-J, wants government to take steps to reverse the arrangement where industry is made to pay higher tariffs, whereas residential users are subsidized. This, he believes, would go a long way to help boost the growth of the manufacturing sector.
What we are talking about is not a quick fix where today we have some stability, then tomorrow that stability gives way. AGI has persistently been calling for implementation of medium to long-term strategic energy plans, which will help this economy. At the moment, yes, there had been some improvement, but we need to do a lot more, particularly when it comes to tariffs. And AGI has persistently been asking that, look, there's a need for reclassification of power tariffs so that industry will pay the right amount. We are not saying that let us reduce power tariffs for industry, but the situation where industry is subsidizing residential power users, doesn't make industry competitive.
The conference is expected to, among other things, offer lasting solutions to managers of the power sector on ways to address the erratic power supply that has led to the collapse of many businesses in the country.
Now, in another development, Chief Executive Officer of the Volta River Authority, Kirk Kofi, says one of the surest ways of addressing the huge debts in the energy sector is by ensuring that consumers pay realistic tariffs. Finance Minister on Wednesday announced a new arrangement to clear the energy sector debts, which has hit about 4.4 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Kofi says we should also look out for tariffs.
The right tariff must be paid for water, for electricity, for whatever. You need to pay the right tariff to survive. If you don't pay the right tariff, then somebody should be prepared to subsidize. Subsidy is not something which is sustainable. And from what we see now, this structure is to take care of the bad debt, is the debt. Going forward, with the PRC involvement in trying to structure so that we have this automatic adjustment and have the right tariff, I hope we should be able to be on the right track. So these are things that I think we've learned our lessons. we're not shedding load now. Things are okay. Generation is on board. We know we have to make sure we sustain it, and that's the essence of all this.
Talk about not shedding load. Atuabo gas is down. Are you worried, or everything is under control?
I'm not worried because we've planned for it. It's down for maintenance. It's not down as a result of a forced outage. This is planned. I was aware that it was going to be down for a month now. They are down for a plant maintenance. We also go down for plant maintenance. So it's down for a week. That's what they said. We are putting adequate preparations to make sure that the impact of the outage of Atuabo is minimized. So that's what we'll be working on. I think I talked to you yesterday on that.
Your plants, are they solid? Are they working? Are we going to generate more power despite this 250 going down for Mary?
Mary was generating close to 200 at times. Where today that goes down, we should be able to manage, all things being equal. Well, as I said, Asoglo is already down because we're not getting gas from Nigeria, but nobody heard of that. Asoglo was down with about 200 megawatts. Nobody heard of that. So we have plans in place to make sure when one area goes down, we're able to manage. Luckily, it started raining. We're getting some good input from Ivory Coast, and we should be able to sustain. Bear in mind that 1 week is short. 2 days and we are in a weekend when the load is reduced, and then 3 other days then we are over. So this thing should think that we can assure that we do everything possible, barring any unforeseen circumstances, we should be able to manage it.
All right, so enough of those energy stories. Let's move on. And visiting IMF mission is expected to end its review on Ghana today. But is this progress enough for Ghana to pass the third review under the program? Well, joining me online is George Riafe, business correspondent, who tells us the progress so far made under the review by this particular review team of the IMF. Now, good afternoon, George, and welcome to Apple.
Well, good afternoon, Riafe. I hope you're doing great.
I'm fine, and I hope you are too.
Yes.
Now, what were some of the key issues during this particular review?
Well, Riafe, what some of the key issues on the table of the mission that came to the country that was just this Sunday is that they are looking at the fiscal numbers when it comes to our revenue and expenditure. It looks like there were some issues there, and therefore the fund, they were coming here to ascertain the issues on the ground for themselves. What about the macroeconomic targets when it comes to our GDP growth rate, when it comes to inflation, when it comes to other targets that we are looking at, balance payment deficits and all those things? How are things going? Our public debt. There are issues about these numbers that we submitted to the fund, and therefore they came here to look at this. And finally, was this energy sector debt? How robust is the strategy by government that could go a long way to address it? So these are some of the top 3 issues that the fund came here to Ghana to have a look at. The mission that was led by Joel Tejas Bennett, the mission chief, to try and review all these situations and get a better understanding as to whether government is making enough progress in trying to stabilize the economy.
Now, do you think they were impressed, especially with the fact that it coincided with these energy sector, measures to actually curb the debt?
From what I pick up, there have been great progress. But for just like a perfect teacher asking more from a student, it looks like the IMF still wants some T's crossed and I's dotted, especially with the energy sector debt. Okay. If you're talking about having a plan to clear these debts, how robust are these plans? You have a documented plan in place that indeed will clear these debts in the next 5 years as government is talking about. So from what we are picking up, there have been some progress, and it looks like, it appears, that could, if things don't change the last minute, help the staff to put together their report, make their recommendations to the board, and then for them to have their final review in Washington come the middle of this month.
So does it enhance our chances of actually passing this third review under the fund program?
What we've picked so far, there's been some progress, and that's the most important thing. Whether that is enough, we still are watching or keeping our eyes closed on the notes to see whether when they put together their final report before they jet out, they will say that government, you're about 80% through, and therefore we're putting together a report, or you still have a lot more to do.
All right. So what about the third review? Is it still coming off in the middle of this month?
It's still coming on. The proposed date is around 28th of September this year. That is barring any unforeseen circumstances, and if you're able to meet all the targets and the staff also put together their report, then indeed the 28th will come on. If not, then we should be looking at somewhere around October or even next year.
All right. Thank you very much, George, for that update. George Biafe telling us more about the IMF review team, which ends its mission today. Now, moving on, substantial increase in the minimum capital might not be the only way out in addressing challenges in the banking sector. That's according to the new chief executive of the First Atlantic Bank, Odun Odunfa. Deputy governor of the bank, Millicent Na, recently confirmed that the regulator is working to increase the minimum capital requirement. There are speculations that it could go up by as much as 300 million Ghana cedis. Speaking to Joy Business in his first media encounter, Mr. Odunfa says although he welcomes the capital increase, there are other areas that the regulator should look at.
Liquidity is important, and you have to watch your numbers. You can't be all things to all people. Banks have to decide what they're good at and what they want to do. If you have all the capital in the world and you risk it in crazy ventures, you would lose it. So capital is good, but it doesn't solve all problems. There are so many other key elements that we have to look at. Regulatory oversight is important. Do people keep within the rules? Do they do what they're asked to do? Are we collectively working towards making sure that the Ghanaian economy and the banking industry is strong and safe and, most of all, efficient? Because even if you're safe and you're strong and you're not efficient, over time, you become unsafe. So those are the issues for me. Capital is important. I support increasing capital, but that alone does not fix all problems. In fact, if you increase capital and you don't do the right things, if you don't ensure that people keep within the rules, then they are risking more capital.
This is the marketplace. We're taking a short break here. More coming up. Don't go away. Welcome back to the marketplace. Now, clearing agents are warning the country is likely to lose out on port businesses from other neighboring countries if government fails to immediately stop shipping lines from implementing the new terminal handling charges. The shipping lines are said to have introduced the charges despite a directive by the transport minister for them to suspend implementation. This is said to have worsened congestion at the ports as several consignment of goods are said to be stuck there. Now, President of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Kwabena Ofuswapia, joins us now on the lines with some perspective to this particular issue. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the marketplace.
Good afternoon.
Now, can you please update us on this current situation?
Okay, fact is the shipping lines are still charging the terminal handling charges, but then the bizarre twist to this whole thing is that it is being done in a very uncoordinated manner. Some of them are charging it, some of them are not charging it. And depending on your level of assertiveness, they refund your money to you. So the whole thing, I've seen a very, very bizarre thing.
Now, could this be a blatant disregard for orders from the Minister of Transport? Because some time ago when we hosted you here, you really pointed out that the Minister of Transport has stopped the implementation of this particular handling charges. Could it be that the shipping lines are not necessarily,
that is what it is. That is what it is. And for whatever reason or for whatever they think is their backing, for to show these flagrant disregard, that's what beat our imagination. But we can take some solace in the fact that the hints that we are getting suggest that the transport minister is going to come very hard on them today. So we are praying for the directives, maybe the final directives to be issued today, and then we see our way forward.
Now, what is the economic implications if these charges continue to be charged?
Yeah. Let me just give you a quick scenario. I have been talking about 17 boxes, and that is 40-footer containers. And when we did the assessment, he is supposed to pay over 42,000 Ghana cedis. And you know, importation is not based on one day waking up and deciding to import. It's a thorough exercise that you should have thought of and all of that. So if having imported and your goods just come down here and the shipping line holds you to ransom for you to cough out $42,000, we know we've been complaining about the rates of duty all this while. And if you have to go for 42,000 Ghana cedis before you clear your goods, that is the consequence that we're having on the market.
Okay. So currently, are there any congestion at the ports?
There are. A case in point, my importer will have to, he's out and about looking for money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Ofosu-Appiah. We will certainly join you again for more clarification on this ensuing development. That was President of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah. We're taking a short break here. We'll be coming back right after this. Thanks for staying. Welcome back to the marketplace. Now, an appeals court judge is urging his colleagues at the lower courts as well as other law enforcers to be abreast of Ghana's mining laws. Justice Dennis Ajay says many cases of alleged breach of the law end up in the court with no settlements for such cases. He was speaking at a seminar for judges with support from the Ghana Chamber of Mines in Kumasi.
Justice Ajay warns particularly judges to examine the law before sitting on cases related to mining offences.
Look at the law critically and see whether that court has jurisdiction. And your honors, your worships, when such a person is arraigned before you, you must examine that, you must look at the law, whether you have jurisdiction or you don't have. If you don't have, strike out as incompetent and discharged so that the person could be arraigned before a proper court.
Ashanti Regional Minister John Alexander Akon called for concerted effort to sanitize the mining landscape for national development,
as well as ensure that the mineral resources are not exploited for individual profits alone, but to resource the nation for the national good. In this vein, I call on all chiefs and people in communities where some of these illegal mining activities take place to cooperate with the relevant legal state actors and institutions to ensure that we rid our communities of the illegal mining that takes our precious minerals away, leaving behind poverty, environmental degradation, and diseases. It must also that are key.
Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Suleiman Ukuni, dismissed suggestions the chamber is against small-scale mining.
The Chamber of Mines supports small-scale mining. It is a creature of law. However, we abhor illegal mining in its various forms. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, illegal mining continues to be a major bane of the mining industry. From the attack on Perseus mining to the confrontations at Golden Star, Bogoso, and Awari mines, illegal miners continue to invade the bona fide concessions of mining companies, and lately that of exploration companies as well. The most blatant of all is the occupation of the AG of Boase mine by illegal miners, even when the company has relinquished about 60% of its concession to the state. It is our expectation that the movement committee, which has been tasked to recommend a strategy to relocate the illegal miners, will complete this work and its recommendations implemented swiftly.
All right, so this is where we end this afternoon's edition of the Marketplace. Thank you very much for keeping company with me over the last 30 minutes or so. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. This happens to be the last in the series of the program for the week. We meet again, same time, next Monday. Meantime, you can get interactive with us by tweeting at Joy Business GH is the handle. And on Facebook, we are Joy Business. That's our page. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Have a good week.